Hey everybody, it's your boy Tile Block RJ, back from the grave, the dead, the various places people cease existence or uploading videos are. So, as most of you probably know by now, Multiversus has recently gone into open beta, and I have to say, I've been having a lot of fun with it. As is the trend with these, big crossover fighting games, many people put together like wish lists, their most favorite requested characters for the game. And I figured I had done it with Nick All Stars. I mean, it was a gag video, but still, it was an attempt. You could postulate cool characters in that list. That was part of the joke. I figured it would only be fair for me to actually do it with this game. Which I think the most interesting part about this game is the massive potential of its roster. Because if you look at something like Smash Bros. Or Nick All Stars. Smash Bros. You can only do video game characters, which is a bit of a limitation. In Nick All Stars, they were pretty much just doing Nick characters, which is even more of a limitation. But Multiversus, not only do you have every Warner Bros. Property, so all the HBO shows, Cartoon Network shows, Hanna-Barbera shows, whatever, MGM stuff, New Line Cinema. But the devs have also stated that they are completely open to guest characters. Considering they added LeBron James as a playable character in this game, as far as I'm concerned, anyone from a company that would agree to be in this game and could have a plausible moveset is on the table. Okay, we're talking full Fortnite scope here. Just whoever they would want to add to this game, they could. And I'm totally about that. The more wacky, nonsensical, just dumb inclusions, the better in my book. The more wacky, tabacky matchups, that's awesome. That being said, there are also some characters that are just way too obvious for me to even bother asking for. I could be like, oh, they should add the Joker and Scorpion for Mortal Kombat. But, they're so obvious. You could literally lie to someone's face, that plays this game, that they got announced, and they just believe you. I could say right now that they were announced yesterday, and probably half of you wouldn't even bother looking it up. I just be like, yeah, sure, that makes sense. Okay, enough of my rambling out of the way. Let's get into my top 15 characters. I want to see Multiverse. They're not actually in order. It's really just 15. Where? Starting off with the Looney Tunes lineup, we have Foghorn Leghorn. I think sometimes, most people agree with me on this, sometimes the appeal of a character in a fighting game is just how it can be fun to beat the hell out of some people, And a big old blabbermouth Biddy, which is a synonym for chicken, I googled it, is certainly an example of that, Foghorn Leghorn, every short he's in, he's always just yammering on and on and on and on. Even in-universe, the characters are like, shut up! So playing off that effect, he would most definitely be a tank. He's big, and I just said you want to beat him up, so you might as well funnel his kit into it. I also imagine him as a very physical character. He gets all up in the opponent's face and he shoves them, he smacks them around, just literally pushes them over while they're just battling across the entire combo string. Classic stuff. I also had the idea of him using the weasel from some of those farm shorts as a projectile. That just seems great, because he's a little guy. He goes, he's kind of like Taz, but he's small. So he just you throw him on an opponent, and then they take damage over time, and maybe it gives health back to Foghorn. I'm not sure. I don't know how the best way to balance that is. Speaking of classic Looney Tunes characters, another one I'd like to see is Yosemite Sam. I imagine him sort of like a range character, which I guess are mages in this game. But he'd shoot guns, he'd throw sticks of dynamite, fight off wild animals or whatever. He's also shown as a very short character, so I think it'd be funny if he was like Pichu's, he's a little midget guy, and just most attacks will just go right under him. Step out of the world of Looney Tunes into a different animated Warner Brothers character. I think Osmosis Jones would be a cool inclusion in this game. I'm not entirely sure what he'd do, but he's Mr. Immune System. I'm sure they could absolutely figure stuff out for him. I mean, it's been a long time since I've seen Osmosis Jones. I had anything to go off of. But it's a little bit nice of a deep cut. It's a character people are less familiar with. And for my first choice of a Cartoon Network character, I have Grimm. I considered adding Billy and Mandy with him, but I decided against it. They're fine enough, like an ice climber-ish type character, or some form of duo. But I think the three of them is way too much to manage, or would be way too much to manage as the player. I mean, he's the Grim Reaper. You know, I don't feel this is a choice that needs to be justified. How many fighting games could have the Grim Reaper in them? So it's slim margins. It's like this game, and if Konami ever made a fighting game, like Castlevania Revelation or whatever it was. Castlevania Judgment, that's what it was called. I don't remember now. He's also had plenty of other magical trinkets and doodads within the show, so it's not like, oh, he's just gonna be a sword character, even though he could definitely, like, sweet spot. Like I'm saying, using the tipper of a scythe makes way more sense than a tipper of a sword, you know? Like, unless you're stabbing, who the hell cares about what point you're inputting a sword in? I feel like it makes most sense to just go for the middle, just that's besides the point. Another Cartoon character I'd like to see is a Coup from Samurai Jack. You know, very funny character. He's got his big lines, but he's also still, you know, posing threat. So, you know, he's got those classic shape-shifting powers. He could, there's a lot of things he could do, and he'd be another villain, which, you know, crossover fighting games don't tend to have a lot of. Slightly different Cartoon character, this one from the old land up north, I'd like to see is Chris McLean from Total Drama. I don't think he'd be much of a fighter in and of itself. Like, instead he'd be using, like, assists or objects. You know, he'd take a prop from one of the challenges, an animal would run across stage, maybe he just actually uses contestants to fight for him. And he does a move, just Owen cannonballs from off-screen and slams into people. He just sort of throws things around. And, it just makes a mess of the battlefield. It'd probably be like an obnoxious play style, but I think it'd be fun. It'd be a fun character to presumably look at. If you enjoyed the video so far, make sure to like and subscribe, you know. There'll be more, totally. Alright, for my first third-party character, I'm gonna go with the bit suggestion on this one, but I need Walter White in this game. AMC is a self-sufficient entity, as far as I can tell, but I'm sure they could work it out. Like, the sheer spectacle of this character alone would be worth his inclusion. Like, imagine Walter White team up with the Iron Giant to beat the hell out of Bugs Bunny and Steven Universe. It would be pure brilliance. Like, Walter's already the Waluigi kind of character, you know, like the meme character people suggest is like a bit. But he could work. Like, I think people would actually care to play as Walter White. Cause, like, I'm gonna be honest, characters like Waluigi or Gino, like, those top consistent requests, people play him, my opinion, people would play him for months, and then they go straight into the bottom of the roster. They get trashed. And if Walter White gets in, we have brilliant idea. We have Saul Goodman as a Velma skin, because Velma in this game already basically plays. Like, hear my logic on this. Velma in this game already basically plays like Phoenix Wright from Marvel vs. Capcom 3. So having the actual lawyer be a skin for the Phoenix Wright stand-in is brilliant. It's the best idea ever. Like, you explain, how does the speech bubble attack work? He's, I'm Saul Goodman. Do you have rights? Classic line. And if you want more dumb, stupid characters from live-action shows, do I have a pitch for you? Jerry Seinfeld. Like, from Seinfeld. Not that there's a difference. Now I'm just saying, why the hell is he suggesting Jerry Seinfeld? There is a reason for this. The company that produced Seinfeld, or at least one of the producers of Seinfeld, Castle Rock Entertainment, is actually owned by Warner Bros. So there's a rational line of him being in the game. Now, what would he actually do as a fighter? I don't have a clue, but I want to beat up Jerry Seinfeld. So, I'm asking for it anyways. And they're tapping into the fairly massive, or decently sized roster of New Line Cinema characters. We got the horror legend himself, Freddy Krueger. One of the most iconic, classic horror character another big villain. He's got dream power. You have him have dream powers. Stretch his arms. The finger knives and all that. He's got that certified personality. It all adds in together. And he was already in Mortal Kombat 9. So, they can pull inspiration from other games he's appeared in. I think another great character from New Line Cinema film I'd like to see is the Mask. I mean, he'd be slotting right in next to Bugs Bunny or the Animaniacs whenever they get at it. Because that's a guaranteed character. That's another character I'm not putting on the list because I want him. But they're gonna get at it. Even taking leaks out of the equation, they're being at it. It's a certifiable thing. I wouldn't be surprised if it happened. The announcement happened 3 months from now, but it could certainly happen later. But we're gonna get them. And if there was a mask, you could have Jim Carrey mask. Because why would you want Jamie Kennedy mask? So that's that's the whole pitch. Well, I mean. Okay, one more point. Arguably, instead of adding Plastic Man, they could just put a Plastic Man skin for the mask. Because I kind of have the same abilities. That's. I like these cross-reference skins, like characters that are kind of would probably operate similarly. They just skin each other. Just funny. Now, if you want another wacky out of left field pitch. Jackie Chan. No. Listen. I just explained how Jerry Seinfeld is a reasonable pick for this game. Don't question Jackie Chan now. Okay? He was in Rush Hour, New Line Cinema movie, Jackie Chan Adventures, aired on Kids WB. 2 precedents right there. Obviously, classic martial art comedy guy. He'd be using, martial art techniques and moves and all that. Maybe throw some Jackie Chan Adventures Fireballs, whatever the hell he did in that show. I had not watched it. And he has a lot of skin options because he's been in a lot of movies. I think it'd be really funny if there was a monkey from Kung Fu Panda skin. I mean, it would, I don't know how that would work, because I feel like they'd have very different models, but I want it anyways. It had one quest for the Rush Hour character skin. If he doesn't say he ain't gonna be in Rush Hour 3 when he knocks someone out, I'm gonna be mad. I mean, it's stupid. I shouldn't expect them to do it, but I want them to do it. It's funny. The last live-action character for this video is Candyman. Also, who I believe is the only other third party. He is he is the only other third party, but I wanted to add him in addition to being a slightly more obscure horror villain. Keep Freddy from being lonely all by himself. Tony Todd's pretty cool. If they could get Tony Todd to do this, and Tony Todd has great respect for the character Candyman, so I think you'd agree. Tony, he's a good voice. The whole reason I even came up with Candyman for this game was I was thinking of Final Destination characters as a joke. And then I was like, oh, Bloodworth's in there. You could play with Tony Todd. And then I was like, oh, wait. They could basically add anyone in this game, so we could just pick the boss Tony Todd character instead. So jumping back to the animated world, we got Popeye, another beloved classic era character. Actually close in age to Porky Pig, both it's as old as Mickey, all those characters. And Popeye definitely be a brawler, getting in there with the fisticuffs, and obviously a special, one of them's, cannon spinning and just goes on cooldown, and then he powers himself up, he goes, it's like a cyclone punch, or whatever. Not cyclone punch, but, rapid fire punches. I think Popeye would be kind of an easy design. And then sort of getting a little wider swath of cartoon characters. I have the last Cartoon Network character from this list, and that being the red guy from Cow and Chicken. He's also an I Am Weasel, but no one knows who that is. He's a dumb character from a dumb show, that's stupid moveset, and he'd just be fun. He'd be like Piranha Plant. And I think his interactions with the character would be like, ugh, beautiful. They'd be some of the best in the game. This guy would be like, I can't do it. I'm not doing a red guy impression. It's been so long. And then, for my final character, drumroll please. It's Dick Dastardly from Wacky Races. In addition to being the character in the game, most plausible character in the game, that's actually like Waluigi. You know, wears a lot of purple, handlebar mustache. He goes, and then, you probably just set up, be like a trapper type character. Just sets up a lot of stuff like he does on Wacky Races, where he can go 100 miles and lap everybody, but he always stops to throw boulders at people. Also, required emote for him. This should practically be the default emote for him. But he just Muttley comes out and he goes. I mean, it doesn't sound like that, but he chuckles. He goes. Put him sound clip in. He does that. I want to win and be able to laugh at my opponent's pitiful attempt to stop me. It'd be extra awesome if this emote was equipable by every character in the game for no reason. And he was the main villain of Scoob. I mean, spoilers, I guess, for Scoob, but it's Scoob, it sucks. So it's not like he's out of their mind. It's not like a technically obscure pick. Well, those were my main requests for characters to come in this game. I may come back to this idea at some point down the line, but I only really have 2 other characters in my head right now, so it'd be a while. I've really been enjoying Multiversus, and I hope it has a very successful future. Thank you all for watching.